let me know when you want me to pull the.
So you got the stream working?
The stream's on and recording. Yeah.
I'll go over to Kate and see if she wants to start. I'll probably start pretty soon. Everybody has their food.
And I'll probably wait for right when you're about to start to turn off the projector and everything.
Okay. Yeah. I would almost say letting it run. That's the reason not to have it run.
No, it's true.
It doesn't make noise.
It's true, actually.
Yeah.
And eventually, when it cycles through, people see images, and they're not. It's not like they're going to be distracted.
No, exactly.
Okay.
I think just leave it on.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because it also has the because Morgan did the thing the interspersed with the lit graduation everywhere. So I think I'd leave it on.
Okay. All right.
right, folks. We're going to try to get started with the program pretty soon, so come on down if you're upstairs eating, and if you're here, we'll get started in another minute. Thank you.
Okay.
And those should be in order.
Yes. Okay.
And yeah, and I talked to Jeff. And the stream should run without anything.
So sure.
Yeah.
You might check it at some point just to make sure it's working.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be watching.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank you, David. Break a leg.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There are still some seats if you want to take your seats. Thanks. And if you're standing, the balcony has a particularly good view. Good evening to everybody. I'll try that again. I was joking with my students in the back that I've always been terrible at getting a class to be quiet. And so I always ask one of the students to do it, and it works immediately. So if somebody here who's good at this, go right ahead. It worked, thank you. Good afternoon to everybody who's in the atrium and who's joining us remotely because we're also streaming. I'm David Pike, the chair of the Department of Literature, and I'm joined by Associate Chair Kate Wilson. Let me begin by acknowledging that we're on traditional land of the Piscataway and Anatatank peoples. And I want to thank everyone that contributed to bringing us together and to all of you for joining us. It's exciting to see so many familiar faces and so many new ones. I hope that you've been enjoying the slideshow, the food, and our first in-person, mostly, graduation celebration since 2019. And it does make such a difference, doesn't it? I notice we've also learned to be patient with snafus, so thank you all for being patient. If you're wondering about what's in store this afternoon, have a look at the program. If you're online, there's a link there for you, and we'll circulate a link to the full program with awards included tomorrow. And if you look at the program and find any mistakes or find your name missing when it should be there, please just let me or Kate know, and we'll fix it before we send out the final version. So take it from us, your instructors, when we say that the last year of a degree in the Department of Literature, be it undergraduate or graduate, is always a challenging one. But if we had imagined that returning to campus, to in-person classes, to the Lit Lounge and to the Atrium, to the Visiting Writer Series and Lit Day, mostly in person, also meant returning to normal challenges as well, we know how wrong we were. It's hard to believe that any year could have been more challenging for you and us than the last two, but I doubt anyone will argue when I suggest that in many ways, this one was. And yet, you've made it. You've done it, and you've excelled. We've seen the amazing work you presented at Lit Day, genuinely one of the most vibrant ones that we've experienced in many, many years, and we have learned so much. And I know that we say this every year. That's because it feels true to us every year. After this weekend's reading at Politics and Prose, we'll be saying the same thing about our graduating cohort of MFAs. And let's not forget the very first graduates last December and this May of our new MA program. To say that we are deeply, deeply proud of you is an understatement. This is a massive undertaking and a massive accomplishment. Bravo. To our faculty, it has been yet another unprecedented year. We returned to in-person instruction, and then we went back online, and then we were in person again. We wore masks, and then for a while we didn't, and now, well, who knows? But students, faculty, and staff adapted to the ever-changing circumstances and policies and still managed to accomplish so much. There's a QR code at the back of the program that links to a document with just some of our faculty's amazing achievements. Thank you to all of our faculty for their teaching, their scholarship, and their service. I'd like especially to shout out David Keplinger, who last month was named Scholar Teacher of the Year. This is AU's highest faculty honor. David is the third Lit professor to receive the award since 2005. I also want to mention a special thank you to Stephanie Grant, to Ariel Bernstein, Dustin Friedman, Lindsay Green-Sims, Melissa Scholes-Young, Lacey Wooten, Kyle Dargan, Fiona Brideoak, Jeffrey Mittens, and Marianne Noble. We are a large department. But those are the ones that I want to single out because as program directors and in other essential roles, they did amazing work that made today possible. And as a preview for our literature colloquium next October, we'd like to present each of you with a copy of Ocean Vuong's new volume of poetry, Time is a Mother. I will give you your copy when you come up to the podium. If you're not at the podium, text me with me afterwards, and I'll give you your copy then. We'd also like to recognize our dear colleague Sarah Marsh, who will be leaving us to take up a tenure-line position as Associate Professor of English at Seton Hill University, where she will be directing their Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion curriculum development. In her 6 years at AU, Sarah has taught in writing studies in Lit in her specialty in the long 18th century and in the Department of Critical Race, Gender, and Culture Studies. In addition to being an exemplary teacher and mentor to our students and an inspirational colleague, Sarah has served as faculty director of the Complex Problems program and interim director of the Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies program. For you also, Sarah, a copy of Time as a Mother. Perhaps this farewell gift will persuade you to zoom into the colloquium next fall. None of this year would have been possible without our office staff. Senior Administrative Assistant Calvin Ellison, Administrative Assistant Morgan Lipscomb, Graduate Assistant Claudia Vinci, and Student Assistant Cheyenne Smith. Both Calvin and Morgan began in their positions last fall, and their impact has been quite extraordinary. Calvin and Morgan, thank you for the efficiency and organization you have brought to our department, and for the good humor and welcoming atmosphere in which all the different work that you do unfailingly takes place. Your gifts are virtual rather than print-based and are winging to you as I speak, but are you there, up there, hiding? A round of applause for Calvin and Morgan. Let's turn our attention back now to you, our fabulous students. You had a great year too. Stephanie Grant will have more to say about MFA students later in the program, and Dustin Friedman and Ariel Bernstein will talk about our MA graduates, but I want to spend a little time talking about our undergraduates, and there's a lot to talk about. Hold your applause until the end of this list, but if you hear your name and you're in the audience, please give us a wave. If you haven't experienced the presentations from Lit Day last month, do seek out our YouTube channel and spend some time there. One thing we learned the last 2 years is how well it works to have everyone post their work online first and then dedicate the whole day to discussion, a format we plan to keep even as we hope to continue in person. Just listen to some of these titles. How Much is Too Much for a Taco? David Gonzalez. To Be Chaste, Obedient, and Accomplished, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, Joanna Racius. Are you here, Joanna? Fan Fiction and The Dead Doves Don't Eat Genre, Laura Manukian. Interactivity and Innovation, Embedded Narratives and Role-Playing Games, Shelby Rose. Music and Transnational Allegory in Chungking Express, Gwen Morgan in the back. And we haven't even scratched the surface of the theses that took a creative approach. Avi Zinder showed us dammed rivers. I saw you earlier, Avi. Well, Allison Deal traced matrilineal. Allison? Christina Kirkham shared PTSD and confessional poetry. Christina? And you brought the Key family with you. Yep. And Ashley Goucher told us about working with you. Ashley? Finally, Gracie Donovan's Untitled Fiction Project and Felicity Davis's Untitled Prose Project. Is either of you here? Hi. Reminded us that however spectacular we found all your capstones to be, research and writing will always be works in progress and under revision. All of these projects and more are listed in the program, and again, please check out the presentations on the YouTube channel. But however much blood, sweat, and tears went into your capstones, we know that all of you have been up to far more than that. Here are some of the highlights of what you have been or will be doing beyond academics. Although he already completed his food doc capstone, tacos, David Gonzalez is returning next year. This is fortunate for the many coffee drinkers among us, since David is also returning as the manager of the Bridge Cafe. Cinema Studies major Gwen Morgan has similarly been putting her academic interest into practice, working last summer as a New York City supplier of clothing for movie and other media productions. As we might have guessed from her capstone on Music in Chungking Express, Gwen has been hosting a radio show at WVAU and will be interning this summer at DC's legendary 930 Club. Mara Shepard attended the AWP, Association of Writers and Writing Programs Conference, and successfully pitched her in-progress speculative short story collection to Red Hen Press. They've invited her to send a full proposal to their acquisitions editor for a new imprint, Canis Major. Annie Pripisny is the president of AU's Creative Writing Club. She's currently the special project editor for Grace and Gravity, a literary publication for DC area women, and also works as the associate poetry editor for the Adirondack Review. For 2 semesters, she acted as arts editor for AmLit, AU's student literary magazine. Annie's poetry is published or forthcoming in over a dozen journals. Given that record, it's not surprising that Annie this spring received an American University Academic Achievement Award for outstanding achievement in undergraduate work in the creative arts. And last but by no means least, Ames Stewart, you're there in the back somewhere, Ames, yep, received the Stafford H. Castle Student Achievement Award, one of a small number of university awards named after significant individuals from AU history. The Castle Award is given each year to, quote, a senior who best exemplifies the traits of Stafford Cassell: total selfless dedication to the university, profound energy, reliability, intellectual curiosity, friendliness, and helpfulness. That indeed sounds much like Ames. She'll be teaching next year at a yet-to-be-determined school somewhere in the vicinity of Dijon, France, about an hour and a half southeast of Paris. And we're full of pity for you, Ames. We'll miss you and all of your cohorts. Thank you for waiting. Now please bring your hands together and applaud our lit majors and graduating seniors. This year's celebration is special for me and for Kate because it is our last official event as chairs of the department. And after 6 years, I'm excited to pass the baton over to Eric Dussert and Mike Cabot, whom we'll be seeing up here next year, hopefully again in person. I was fortunate enough to have 3 semesters off along the way, for which I want to thank David Keplinger and Jeff Mittens, who stepped in during the semesters while I was on sabbatical and research leave. But I especially want to thank Kate, who has served 6 full years as co-leader of this department. Kate is the first woman to do this in more than 25 years and the first non-tenured faculty at AU ever to serve in such a role, to my knowledge. She has filled this role in such an exemplary fashion that what not that long ago we were told was impossible is now understood as normal. Brava, Kate, you've set a very high bar. As I've been thinking through these long years, my mind keeps returning to a poem a student shared with me last fall. And it has been in my mind constantly since Lit Day, because it resonated for me with so many of your capstone projects. I'm sure some of you are familiar with it. It's from the end of a long poem by the Muskogee Nation performer and writer Joy Harjo, who is also our current poet laureate. It's called Conflict Resolution for Holy Beings. And the section I'm going to read is titled, "And Use what you learn to resolve your own conflicts and to mediate others' conflicts." Here it is. I hope it resonates with some of you, as it has with me, as we move now into celebration out of a heavy, heavy time. When we made it back home, back over those curved roads that wind through the city of peace, we stopped at the doorway of dusk as it opened to our homelands. We gave thanks for the story, for all parts of the story, because it was by the light of those challenges that we knew ourselves. We asked for forgiveness, we laid down our burdens next to each other. And now we arrive at the point in the ceremony for our Lit Department Awards, the light part. Let me start by thanking all of our colleagues who set aside time at this busy point in the semester to judge these awards. Students, when your name is ready, if you're here, can you please come up to the podium so that you can receive your certificate and we can applaud your accomplishment. And a few people are going to be presenting or on Zoom. I would first like to introduce Kate Wilson, the Hearst Professorial Lecturer in Writing Studies Program, and as you know, Associate Chair of the Literature Department, to present the Jane Stanhope Award. Kate.
Hello, welcome. I am standing in for my colleague, Lacey Wooden, who is the director of the Writing Studies program, and she was not able to be here tonight, but I am delighted to be able to do this for her. So all of the Writing Studies program faculty have gone to extraordinary lengths to support our students this year. Our first year students were not only coming to college for the first time, many of them were returning to in-person learning after a senior year on Zoom. And as a parent, that was not good. Our faculty were flexible and generous, and our students benefited greatly from their support. Now, though, I want to talk about one of our faculty members. Each year, we single out the achievements of one of our adjunct faculty for recognition. The Jane Stanhope Award was established in 1998 to honor a long-serving director of the Writing Studies program. It recognizes outstanding work by a member of the Writing Studies program's adjunct faculty. This year's recipient of the Stanhope Award is Casey Bieda. Casey is a dynamic and innovative teacher who develops creative course themes and activities designed to engage and challenge students. For example, her college writing seminar asked students to consider monsters and cyborgs as linguistically mediating perspectives, including marginalized perspectives. Casey has also been an important contributor to the work of the Writing Studies program. She participated in a working group that created a new professional and technical writing class at the master's level. And she was an important contributor to a summer working group focused on online engagement with students as we entered our pandemic semester in fall 2020. Casey has brought her different areas of expertise to our students and our program in ways that have clearly benefited all of us. And I am pleased to present her with the 2022 Stanhope Award. Casey was not able to be here this afternoon, but I think that she is watching our live stream. So Casey, congratulations and thank you.
Next, I want to bring up to the podium Ariel Bernstein and Dustin Friedman, the co-chairs of our MA in Literature, Culture, and Technology. And fittingly, Ariel is going to be joining us remotely. So.
Yes, literature, culture, technology, hybrid. Yes, it's all part of the theme, yes. So I'm so excited to be here tonight and say just a couple of words about our MA program in Literature, Culture, and Technology, which is now entering its third year of operation and is continuing to thrive. And we're excited to welcome a new cohort of students, 3 of whom are currently in this very room right now. Hannah DeVito. Hannah? I thought I saw her earlier. Okay. Radha Hassad. Hello. And Shelby Rose. Hello, hello. So we adore all of you so much, we just couldn't bear to see you go, right? No, we're so pleased that you decided to stay here in the Lit department for your graduate degree. Okay. We're also thrilled to congratulate the first 2 graduates of our program, Brady Tuttle and Gabe Ballard. You've done us so proud with your stellar performance in the classroom and in your capstone projects. And indeed, I'm pleased to announce today that Brady and Gabe have both won this year's MA Academic Achievement Award. So, I had the pleasure of teaching both Brady and Gabe in my graduate seminar on queer Victorians. And in addition, Brady was my TA for my undergraduate course on Victorian literature, culture, and power. And Gabe also took my seminar on the history and theory of the novel. So both in and out of the classroom, they proved themselves to be not only brilliant, but also hardworking and just so passionate about literature. And I can't think of two more deserving award recipients. So now I'd like to turn to my co-director, Ariel Bernstein, to tell you just a little bit more about Gabe tonight.
Let's check the volume.
Yeah.
Ariel?
Hi there. It's so wonderful to see everybody and to participate, and we're truly representing the MA program's connection today.
Keep talking. I was trying to get more sound. Can you hear in the back?
Can you all hear me?
Here, should I actually like maybe hold the mic up? Oh, there we go.
Should I try one more time, or?
Yeah, I think everybody can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. It is so wonderful to be here, and I'm so happy to celebrate our MA students and to celebrate the amazing Capstone project of Gabe Buller. We're absolutely thrilled to present you with the 2022 Kessler Roberts Prize for Best MA Capstone. Gabe's capstone, entitled Nostalgia Acts, an Anxious User's Guide to Living in the Past, seamlessly weaves personal narrative, cultural criticism, and historical research to probe our fraught cultural relationship with nostalgia in the 21st century. Heartfelt, moving, and intellectually rigorous, Gabe's work is essential reading at a time when new technology renders our obsession with the past more and more visible. Gabe, congratulations. It was an absolute honor to work with you on this capstone project, which demonstrates the culmination of just such incredible work throughout your time completing the MA.
Thanks. Come back.
Congratulations, Gabe. Okay.
Finished?
Yeah, and that's it for me. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Ariel. As you can see, we believe in workarounds. The MFA Academic Achievement and the Milo Scleroux Awards will be presented by MFA Director Stephanie Grant.
Hello. Thank you for coming. Can everybody hear me okay? Everybody hear me in the back? So every year as director, I write a little something for this event, and I must confess that every year I dread it a little bit. I dread it because, well, like all prose writers, I want first and foremost to be useful, which means for this occasion I want to offer remarks that are at once light and meaningful, remarks that capture the particular joy of this particular passage. Looking back on my prior efforts, I see I have fallen on the wrong side of this balance sheet too often. As I've aimed for meaningful, I've often hit ponderous. My previous year-end observations have been laid down by the political realities that have shaped the last few years, realities that have shaped your time at AU. In skimming my previous efforts, I see words like impeachment and state-sanctioned violence and insurrection and second impeachment and mass shootings and the invasion of Ukraine and pandemic and variant, pandemic and variant and variant. This year, I promise myself no more heaviness. I'll speak only about joy, about the delight we have in that we have experienced in the department working with you during these astonishingly difficult years, about the joy we have felt bearing witness to your deepening mastery over the material you've studied and to your expanding sense of yourselves through that study as writers and readers and, yes, intellectuals. And then came Monday's news cycle and the promised end of Roe v. Wade, and well, what's a body to do? One thing this body can do is double down on joy. One thing we can all do is acknowledge the extent to which we live in a country that is suspicious of joy, and in particular, pleasure. The pleasures of the mind, and the pleasures of the body. The pleasure of working with our minds and living in our bodies, which in the study of literature are utterly intertwined. This may come as a surprise to some of the frowning parents in the audience who did not send you to college for an extended bacchanal. And I don't mean to suggest here a bacchanal. I mean to suggest that the study of language and literature brings us immense joy because as it honors the mind, it does not forsake the body. As it pushes you to think harder, it asks you to feel more. So as you, our graduates, and your parents go forward and inevitably face the question, why did you or your child major in literature, in creative writing, in film, and cultural studies? Why did you get an undergraduate degree or an advanced degree in a field so terribly impractical? Why, oh why do you read poetry? You can answer, as so many of us here do, because it's the very best preparation we know for living in the world as it is, for thriving in a world of constant upheaval, the very best preparation for finding joy in a burning world. Congratulations on your wise and practical choice. Now, it's my distinct honor to offer some awards to our MFA graduates. I'm delighted to present five academic achievement awards to the MFA students who excelled in their classes beyond the writing workshop. That is, to the students whose intellectual development kept pace with their creative output. This year's recipients are, and if you're here, I would love for you to just come up and maybe we can stand in a row rather than race back to our seats so everybody can see you and applaud you. Colt Fossum. Colt, you here? Emily Kim, Una Kim, Nicholas Penaranda, Woody Woodger, and Jess Williams. Wow. Well, the intellectuals stayed home. Thank you, Nick. Woo! Thank you. Each year, the MFA faculty recognizes 2 MFA theses that reflect the deep humanism and the lyrical brilliance of our founding director, the poet Myra Skleroux. I'm proud to confer, and when I call these folks up, I'd love for you to come up and stand while I read a little bit. I'm proud to confer the Myra Skleroux Award for the outstanding prose thesis to Patricia Corral Ayala, and the outstanding poetry thesis to Laura Lannon. So Patricia. So stay here for just a minute. And I'm going to share with you and with the folks gathered the words of the committee who decided these awards. So about Laura Lannon's poetry thesis, the committee writes, in Wake Up, Amen, Laura Lannon creates a language of witness out of the rituals of birthdays and the machineries that bolster us in illness in order to escape the weight of the body, literally lifting it, first in the lightness of prayer and then into the weightlessness of space and the flight of the imagination. I realized reading this book again that the operant word of her title is up, how these poems reach against or beyond the balloon tethers of worry, anxiety, depression, and regret. How they formally and in their spacious exploration of the fabulous tradition tie together science and prayer. And I would add that it is the intelligence and talent of this gifted poet that provide them with the helium and lift. In the Nobel Prize, that's the poem's title, in the Nobel Prize, written to the inventor of insulin treatments for type 1 diabetes, Lannon writes, Frederick Banting, do you know what your Nobel Prize was for? Walking, talking, living, dead girl. Her poetry, too, is a science that offers extended life to dead moments, dead worlds of the past, and more than just commemorating these, it recycles the old selves into the newly lived experience, remembering and moving forward simultaneously, like a birthday. And for the outstanding prose thesis, the committee writes, Patricia Corral Ayala's memoir in prose and verse, The Women Who Made Me, begins and ends with water. It begins with the fear of surrounding water instilled in her as a young girl, though she lived on an island, and it ends with hurricane, the forces of water that move through and wash away. The Women Who Made Me is about swimming in the waters of possibility, but it uses the stories of the women creators, mother, aunt, grandmothers, women who were islands in some sense, whose stolidness and defiance, despite abuse and subjugation, along with a very large act of survival, created a space in which the writer learned to breathe and expand against the weather of marriage, sexism, domestic abuse, and structural racism. What results is a memoir that simultaneously cleans out and decolonizes the very houses she is trying to exactly map, to see exactly as they were. The achievement of this book is already enormous, and Corral Ayala, along with being a faithful witness to her own life, is a poet of the highest order.
At this time, we welcome Professor Marianne Noble, the Department Coordinator for Honors in the Literature major.
In the Honors in the Literature major program, students develop their own program that enables them to deepen their knowledge of theory, literary history, and cultural analysis. In addition to maintaining a cumulative GPA of at least 3.67, students with honors in the Lit major take a course in lit theory, they present at the annual literature colloquium, they complete research-intensive honors supplements for 2 advanced courses at the 400 level, and they also complete a 1-credit independent study. And so this year we are happy to have 2 students graduate with honors in literature, and I invite them both to come forward. And I'm actually also like their mentors to come forward too and let them read for them. So they are Ames Jewett, Mara Shepard, and then Jeff Mittens and Rhonda Zimler. Professor Jeff Mittens mentored Ames on her capstone, I Have to Tell My Story Properly, Narrative and Comedic Form in Netflix Comedy Specials. And here's what he has to say about working with Ames.
That's really good. Get ready for this. I had the pleasure of working with Ames several times over these last few years. First in an amazingly vibrant version of Literature, Film, and Globalization, then mentoring this year's colloquium presentation titled Articulating an Indigenous American Cartography in Yuri Herrera's Signs Preceding the End of the World. And finally, in a double feature this semester in 2 academic experiences that really dovetailed with each other. The minor, was her excellent work in my advanced class on global Netflix, where she critiqued unexamined racism and classism in the made-for-export version of the French series Lupin, eventually seeing the series as a reversion to traditional French values. Although I now see that this project was actually just preparation for next year's experiences in France. But I digress. The cherry on top of this experience has been working with her on her capstone thesis, I Have to Tell My Story Properly, the title of which comes from Hannah Gadsby's Nanette, one of 2 series that she probed in investigating the Netflix film comedy as a specific forum and space that allows for marginalized comedians to meet with receptive audiences. Her exceptional close readings of Netflix, as the show has been termed to distinguish from the stage performances, as well as Hassan Minhaj's Homecoming King, really develop a thoughtful way of thinking about Netflix as a mode unto itself. Working with Ames over the past year has led to my own rethinking of stand-up comedy and the work it does, and I am not alone in thinking this, as her presentation on the topic won the Undergraduate Humanities Award at this year's Matthias Research Conference. It has been an honor and a privilege to work with you with such a mind as yours for this past year. Congratulations, Ames.
I was not prepared to read this out loud, and I may be a little bit emotional, but it's because what Mara works on is so important and pertinent to what's happening in our world now, especially with Roe v. Wade on the chopping block. Every time I sit down to have a conversation with Mara, it turns into something magical. Mara Shepard's curiosity and enthusiasm for learning are both infectious and clear. She asks questions and then uses this new information to form pathways to newer questions, thus growing a web of exploration. She does not exhaust a subject, but rather grows her understanding of a topic to its very essence. Mara takes brave risks in conveying these ideas in her writing. Her stories explore difficult subjects, violations of the body, abject prejudices and dirty lenses, things that litter the subconscious. Yet she deftly handles such content, threading her prose into true fictions, delightful stories that shine, allegorical and moral facts, hopefully not too prophetic, intended to impact her reader and affect change. As a student, Mara has been non-traditional, independent, first generation, and a fighter. She is a double major in both Lit and SOC, with honors in both, and she finishes with the greatest respect of her peers and her professors, and has deeply impacted me. Thank you. Congratulations.
Please welcome Lindsay Green Sims, our Undergraduate Studies Director, to present the Undergraduate Achievement Awards. Lindsay?
Hi, everybody. So I am presenting the BA Academic Achievement Awards. But before I do that, so I'm presenting in my role as the Undergraduate Studies Director and Advisor. But I also have been teaching the value of Lit 479, which is the first class in the sequence of the Capstones. And so I told David I would be doing this, but I'm just going to use this moment to just to congratulate the seniors, some of whom who have started working on this project in the summer. And I was able to read this morning some of the completed capstones. And I have to just say that the work that we are doing, that you all are doing, is phenomenal. I learned so much. I sat there and I was like, I want more. I want to read more of these. This is great. And to think about, where we were when we sat in the first day of class, in September, or for some of you in July, and the amount of work that has been done, and the sustained focus, the resilience, the drive to keep revising and revising, has been just astonishing. The award that I'm presenting does not have to do with the capstone, but it's my only time to come up here, so I'm just going to say I'm proud. Okay, so the BA Academic Achievement Awards go to, and you all can come up, and I'll present you with the certificates. Hannah DeVito, Gracie Donovan, Grace Hansen, Ames Jewett, Gwen Morgan, and Mara Shepard. I will mask up Mara and Gwen. And the Graces. All right, somebody take a picture of us. We look great. Ready?
Finally, the judges for our various undergraduate the undergraduate awards. First, we have the Louise Young Prize. Louise M. Young, the first female full professor in the Department of Literature during the 1950s to 1980s, was the author of Understanding Politics, A Practical Guide for Women, 1950, and In the Public Interest, The League of Women Voters, 1920-1970, published in 1989. Louise Young served as executive vice chair of the National Committee on the Status of Women in the 1940s. At American University, she helped to establish a precursor to the University Honors Program and created and taught a popular course, Reading, Writing, and Human Values. For the prize given in Professor Young's honor, we seek critical essays, creative nonfiction, and multimedia essays that fulfill her vision of literature as a reflection on and of human values. The judges for this award were Professor Mandy Berry and Sarah Trembath, and Professor Trembath is here and will be presenting.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, oh, there you all are. Am I like really big at the front of the room?
No. So everybody can see you, but you're no larger than we are.
Okay, well that seems fitting. Thank you for having me. This is such an honor, and happy to be presenting on behalf of Professor Berry and myself this award for this extraordinary essay. We write, if a syllabus for a philosophy class is ordinarily understood as an outline of subjects in a course of study authored by a teacher, Catherine Howe's essay demonstrates the transformational possibility of the form. If philosophy
Can I stop you and you can see if Catherine is here? Catherine. Sorry, Sarah. Continue. Catherine.
Howe writes, I'm afraid to find out what I will turn into, what I will turn to if it too disappoints me. In Howe's vision, that which ordinarily describes and prescribes educational experience, that is the time-honored but often ignored course syllabus, yields its questionable power to shape the reality of the learner. Economical Hal's essay is as riveting and insightful as it was humbling to read. My fellow judge and I were reminded that this thing we do, writing syllabi and engaging pedagogy, is in no way unidirectional. We were grateful to see how you gave life, Catherine, to the eternal being of the wanderers in our midst. And we're happy to name you as this year's winner of the Louise Young Award. Congratulations.
Professors Kirsty Dorr and Rhonda Zimlich will present the Best Undergraduate Essay Award.
Professor Dorr couldn't be here, so I'm speaking for both of us. First, we looked at some really fine essays this year. We have some truly talented and excellent writers at American University. Professor Dorr and I were able to narrow the results to 2 finalists, with one rising above the other. Therefore, we would like to acknowledge an honorable mention as well as a winner. For the honorable mention, Isabel Verdino's The Importance of the Past in Our Future, discussing Tracy K. Smith's rightful place in Afrofuturist discourse. Verdino takes risks in the essay, calling out scholars for superficially...
Can I see if she's here?
Yeah, sure.
Isabel?
Isabel here. Thank you. Verdino takes risks in the essay, calling out scholars for superficially studying poet Tracy K. Smith, whose work demands deeper consideration. Congratulations, Isabel Verdino. And the winner in the category of Best Undergraduate Essay is Paul Klein. Paul Klein's essay, The Mirror's Spooky Surface, Get Out, Trauma, and America's Peculiar Institution. In this essay, Klein offers succinct prose and critical evidence challenging historian David Skal to think beyond 20th century horror to include American chattel slavery in his consideration of the horror narrative. Klein uses the film Get Out to call out the, quote, lingering traumas of slavery on the American people. Please join me in congratulating
We now come to the awards for the best senior capstone projects. There are 2 of these, one for creative writing capstone and one for critical writing. We will start with the award for outstanding creative writing capstone project, which will be presented by Professors Teddy Helfers and Jeremy Wade.
All right, I want to start just by thanking everyone who submitted for the Capstone project. It was a welcome relief during the grading crush this week, so I was grateful. We were both grateful for the detour. We chose 2 honorable mentions and a winner for this award. We'll start with honorable mention, Sydney Cimaroli for Quality of Life. Quality of Life blends medical literature with eco-poetics to redefine chronic illness. In this collection, a new body emerges from grief, disability, and genealogy, yearning for, quote, past as snakeskin, crisp, clear curl against tan sand. These poems take form in fragments, erasures, voicemails, prose, and persona. Typography literalizes the reconstructed self. In the end, Sydney discovers a healing solidarity. We're all just doing the same thing, she concludes, the gulls muscling across the glass slab sky, the birds which choose our knits as midwives, the lake that bends and bends and bends. We commend Sydney for the formal flexibility and cohesive narrative arc of this collection.
Our other honorable mention goes to Grace Hassan for The Echoist. Drawing on Craig Malkin's Rethinking Narcissism, Grace defines an echoist as a person who loses their sense of self through people-pleasing. Grace manages not to lose herself in the influences, feedback, or formal adherence that produce this project. Instead, the poems offer a deeply personal narrative rendered through remarkable attention to theme and ordering. This movement and cohesion was achieved despite the disruption of shifting workshop modality and events that threatened to overwhelm anyone's sense of self. For The Echoist, Grace has earned our admiration.
And our winner is Annie Proprisny from Miscellany. Influenced by the Countess of Winchelsea, Miscellany draws upon behavioral therapy to, quote, desanctify narratives of mental illness. The poems in this collection, parsed through a dizzying array of forms, treat a delicate subject with humor, irreverence, and surprise. From a sanctuary nun to a spurned witch, Annie writes women with, quote, more than one world inside, who make meaning out of chaos and turn tragedy into inspiration. Her work takes aim not only at our, quote, little violences, but also joy, as she puts it in Love Song number 1, truckloads of love, perfumed parchment, statues of Venus, cheap Valentine snow globes where two ceramic lovers inhale a sky of glitter. The judges congratulate Annie on a full-hearted, stunning, and moving collection and look forward to following the next phase of her career.
The Critical Writing Capstone Award will be presented by Professors David Pike and Adam Tamashasky. Sorry. And Professor Tamashasky was unable to be here today because of parental commitments, and he asked me to present the results, even though you have already heard far too much from me. It gives me great pleasure, though, to present the Undergraduate Capstone Thesis Award in Critical Writing to Radha Hassad. The title of the capstone is Lupusization and Transfemininity, How the Wolf Has Been Used to Explore the Transfeminine. And the faculty mentor was Mandy Berry. This ambitious and accomplished essay intricately examines the transmisogynistic uses of lupusization, which Radha defines as caricaturing through making one's features more wolf-like. Radha locates this move alongside other stereotypical animal-centric tropes such as simianization and felinization, in close readings of Disney's 1936 short film The Big Bad Wolf and DreamWorks' 2001 feature Shrek, Radha reveals new ways of understanding the transmisogynistic use of the wolf as feminine character. Turning to a nuanced examination of a more recent source, the 2019 Netflix series Beastars, Radha pivots the argument to showcase what reclamation of a weaponized trope in popular culture can look like. The judges especially noted the consistent attention throughout the essay to embracing contradictions and complications of difficult readings rather than flattening and simplifying them. In short, then, we celebrate this paper's critical ambition, adventurous thought, and contribution to multiple conversations. So please join me in applauding our graduates, all of them, one more time. To our graduates, to the literature faculty and staff, and to you, the parents, family, and friends of our amazing students. This is an incredible community to be part of. We're proud of all of you, grateful for the time we've spent together, and looking forward to continuing to hear from you. Don't forget to come back to visit or drop us a line to let us know what you're up to. Congratulations to the AU Department of Literature Class of 2022, to everyone who's helped you through. And there's still food upstairs. You're invited to hang out upstairs one last time or to pack a container to take away. Enjoy and have a wonderful summer. I'm going to try to leave now.
Okay, and not so fast, David. So Jeff and I just wanted to come up here to say a word or two, even though I didn't prepare anything, because we really wanted to thank David and Kate for all the great work that they've done for this department over the last 6 years. And you guys have done an amazing job under very difficult circumstances, and it's been a real pleasure to be in the department while you guys have been the chairs. So we have gifts. So for David, I have a card. Because during this event, a digital gift certificate to the Guitar Center on 14th Street in Manhattan should have been delivered to you. For those of you who don't know, David has, let's just say, an obsession with accordions, and is currently working on a piece for Pop Matters, the website, on, I believe it's the 35 essential rock songs that have accordions in them. Because it's David, there have to be 35. I'm sorry, 42. And so now he can buy one of his own.
I do have something a little more prepared for this. So I'm here to thank Kate Wilson, who's probably going to cry for this. David and Kate have both led us for the last 6 years. Kate is, as we've mentioned several times, the first associate chair that we've had. So we do have a gift for you as well, although maybe not as much for you as much for Stella, your horse. So you will have plenty or Stella will be very, very happy. Let's just say maybe you will too, with what you're going to get. But there's something else that we also have for you, because your colleagues actually compiled a whole bunch of words for you that have been compiled into this little booklet that we have here. I'm just going to read a couple things about, our colleague here that your colleagues have actually said, and I'm not going to say, you'll have to find out who said this. You have always been a compassionate, open listener to whatever I brought your way. I felt supported and encouraged since starting AU, in large part to your steady hand. I've absolutely loved your warm, personable, accessible style of leadership. Your intelligent leadership has been the core of this department for the past 6 years. I have always had immense respect for you, your intelligence, equanimity, and kindness.
What department are you in?
I know, what the heck? I am grateful that you brought these qualities to your leadership position. I've been influenced a lot by a lot that you've said over these years, from grading practices to thinking about what liberal arts education should be and do. But I'm going to save these last words because these other ones have all been anonymous. The last ones are mine. Working with you has truly been a highlight of my career at AU. And I mean that when I say working with you, because we got to collaborate. If you don't know this, we were co-chairs last year together during the pandemic. We got to collaborate in ways that I haven't really experienced with anyone else. We developed quite a friendship in the process, and I'm even more thrilled about that. Thanks for everything, including all the snarky giggling we are bound to keep doing over the phone as we move forward. Yes, we've done that. You're the best. Thanks.
All right, now go have food.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's right. I know, the book. I'm all excited for this. I sent her a notice. I'm like, hey, guess what?
I told her to Zoom. She may be on. I think Morgan said she was on you. She was going to be.
She actually didn't make it on, but that's okay.
I love reading, like her senior thesis on Sharknado.
Yep.
I've talked about it so many Is there Sharknado on that?
So the master's thesis went even further, like down the shark.
She did more in the masters. I know. Yep.
She did what was it? 40 down. This time reading it, that's interesting. Like let's go over it sort of because it's 7 months ago. It's sort of like taking the inspiration. It's really fascinating. I was like, we're going here with this? We're doubling down on sharks?
That's all about Sharknado.
It was really good. She convinced me also. Trust me, when she first came in, she's like, I want to do sharks. I'm like, what? It went even further with the master's. Sharks, wolves, someone else in my upper level class actually did the stories also. So the stories. So it's an animated, it's Japanese animated series.
These stories sounds like the studio.
No, definitely not studio. It's the same animated students. I need to watch it at some point because it sounds really interesting and the thesis like sort of dovetails with my favorite. Oh my gosh, this is like.
Do you watch Dickens in the night?
No, because I don't have Apple Plus. I know. I'm going to need to get Apple Plus at some point because Qui-Gon is actually like he has a series that's going to be out at some point.
Did someone contact you about a promotion video? Because I recommend it. It's just says it's about women in TV. I was like, are you sure?
I thought you sent someone my way, like someone did try to contact me about May the 4th, Star Wars, and I was like, you don't want to talk to me, talk to Patrick Jackson. Oh, that's good, that's who you're Oh, the awards for Professor Pike. I think you can come up. Although Ames was just waiting.
Like, my high school teacher and like a and we just can't find someone. He said, you should hire an artist. He said, she's graduating from the No.
But she deserves to have this.
Get it, what's he getting?
It is a gift certificate. Hey, Eric. Are you leaving now? I need to grab my stuff. I do too. I can get it right here in my chair. Nice to meet you. Oh my gosh.